What's going on, guys? Welcome to a brand new week and welcome to a brand new edition of what we call the Shifting the Culture podcast, where we talk about the different artists and different events that have impacted hip hop culture, as well as the ones that continue to do so to this very day. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Conscious Kurt, in the flesh as always, and my co host needs no introduction, but fuck it, he's going to give y'all one anyway. Break it down.
Yo, what's going on, world? This is King Khan, live and direct after a long Thanksgiving weekend. Blessed time with family and friends, and just happy to be here today. How about you, man?
Great. I had a great Thanksgiving on Thursday that you and I both spent together. We had a good time. We played some hip hop trivia, which was a lot of fun. And I found out that I do have a future as a game show host, so I'm going to be looking into that.
Yeah, might have to do that, or a trivia host at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down for that. But we don't really have a lot of time today, so we're going to get into our news right away. So let's jump into it. So last week, our main story was the lawsuit that Cassie filed against Diddy. And while it was settled 24 hours later, two new allegations have since come out against Diddy, which were filed this past Thursday. As a woman by the name of Joy Dickerson Neal filed a lawsuit against him, claiming that Diddy drugged and raped her in 1991. And another unknown woman filed a lawsuit against Diddy, claiming that him and Aaron Hall both assaulted and raped her and a friend of hers back in 1991 as well. So yes, I think I was right when I said it last week that this shit is only beginning, and look at it now, 1 week later.
Yeah, you're right. I even heard that his old bodyguard as well is gonna talk and spill the beans about what happened during his time while he was employed with Diddy. So yeah, it's not looking good for Diddy. It looks like everybody's coming out of the woodworks with allegations, towards Diddy. So he's definitely gonna have to lawyer up on to be able to fight all of these allegations and all these people coming at him, because it looks like we have another Bill Cosby situation on our hands.
Yeah, even his lawyer said himself that this is simply just women trying to come after him because of his celebrity status and trying to get money from him and all that jazz. And that possibly could be true, but with all these allegations coming up against him, and not to mention his other past history of shadiness, it's really hard to dispute these claims, I have to say.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Like I said before, anytime, even if this is true or not, it does tarnishes his name and doesn't paint him in a great light. So hopefully these allegations are false, and hopefully we'll get to the bottom of them either way, if they are true or not. But just anytime when you have all these allegations coming at you, it just like smears your image and just doesn't look good for you. And I see that Diddy's been kind of quiet since all these allegations started popping up. So we'll see what happens and see how it plays out.
Yeah, he's been super quiet. I haven't heard a peep from him, but all of his haters and all of his detractors have been extra loud ever since. Specifically, 150 Cent, who even in the post talking about this most recent allegation, put up a story on his Instagram playing the song "Fucking You Tonight" from Biggie and R. Kelly, saying with the caption, "It's another one."
Wow. Yeah, 50. He's funny, man. He never lets up, no matter the situation. It could be serious or whatever, what have you, and he's definitely gonna go in. So I'm not surprised that 50 took this chance to throw some salt in the wound.
Yeah, sounds about right, because like we talked about last week, he's been a detractor of Diddy for years. And with these recent stories coming out, yeah, it's giving him all of a more reason to shit on him. And he even said he'd be down to executive produce a documentary called Surviving P. Diddy, kind of like the R. Kelly one from a couple years ago. And if that were to ever come out, whatever good name Diddy would have or still does have would be tarnished for good. Because we all saw what happened to R.
Yes.
Kelly after that.
Yeah, so Diddy better lawyer up and hope that nothing else comes out, and hopefully, he has enough money or enough lawyers to make these allegations go away. But it's definitely not a good look for him, and we'll see how everything comes, plays out. I don't want to, pick any sides, 'cause I don't know the truth. I don't know what's what, but I'll just wait and see how everything happens.
Yeah, because at the rate we're going now, by this time next week, we're going to have more allegations to talk about. Diddy's probably going to be the lead story for our show for the next month at this rate.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and also Aaron Hall's probably going to be getting in trouble too, because his name also came up under that lawsuit.
Yeah, I heard about that too. So yeah, he hasn't been in the limelight in a long time. So surprised that his name came up out of nowhere.
Yeah, this happened back in the early 90s, back in 91. Yeah, it's apparently according to the lawsuit, Diddy raped her, and then right after that, he raped her.
Yeah, I saw something online that was going on. Yeah, some news when it broke last week, but yeah, I don't know, man. I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened. Hopefully, it's not true. But if it is true, they deserve to be, they deserve to, be punished and suffer the consequences of their actions. Can't be, can't be going around doing that kind of stuff.
Hell no, whether you're a celebrity, whether you're an ordinary Mo, if you're doing that kind of shit where you're taking advantage of women, raping women, abusing women in any way, you deserve to be put on blast for it and also be punished for it. And if Diddy did do those things, and if he is guilty of those things, he deserves to be punished.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so shifting gears, let's get into another story. Lauryn Hill, who's become a popular topic of discussion on this show in the last few weeks, recently announced through her Instagram that she is postponing her tour until the beginning of next year. And this is what she had to say in the Instagram post. As many of you know, I've been battling serious vocal strain for the past month. I made it through each show by taking prescribed prednisone, but this can be detrimental to the body when taken in large amounts over long periods of time. In order to prevent any long-term negative effect on my voice and my body, I need to take time off to allow for real vocal recovery so that I can discontinue the medication completely.
Yeah, it's not a good look. If this came from Beyonce, I can see her kind of getting away with that with that type of an excuse. But coming with a track record like Lauryn Hill has over the years, that it's not going to sit with fans. And like I said, previously, like this was her last chance to get people back on her side. And there's always been things where she's been late or she doesn't show up to her shows, and her performances aren't great. And like this is just not. This is like adds more fuel to the fire where people are going to come at her and saying that that she's overrated and she's washed up and this and that, and like she gives people the ammunition that like I don't understand. Like, you haven't performed in a long time. Wouldn't you practice or go through rehearsals and whatnot ahead of time to make sure that your voice is up to par, physically and mentally, that you're prepared to go on on a tour like this. So I don't know, man. It just not a good look. I don't get it with Lauryn Hill, man. I try to cover for her and vouch for her on numerous times, but she's just not making me look good at all.
Yeah, I mean, look, if she does legit have a vocal issue, I get it. That's understandable. But like you said, she's had a reputation for years of being late and being unreliable. So with that being said, yes, it is hard to kind of take her seriously, and hard in a sense to feel sorry for her, especially after those comments she made a few weeks ago at that show talking about how we should be lucky that she even shows up. Yo, that's some real arrogant ass shit to say.
Yeah, I just feel like she puts herself on a higher pedestal than she really is. Yes, she did come out with a classic album a very long time ago, which is great. And she's one of the best hip hop groups of all time. Yes, I get all that, but at the same time, you haven't dropped any music in over 20 years, and this is what you're doing to your fans who actually pay a lot of money to come see you and wait hours for you to come on stage, and then now you're canceling the tour.
It's
Like,
not
I don't know,
canceled.
man. It's not.
It's not canceled. It's postponed.
I mean, postponing, but still, like, what if people had babysitters or they made plans just so they can go out that night? Like, and then now, they got to scrap those plans and, and then reschedule or, make other plans. So just not a good look. I feel like she should respect her fans' time and, time and money.
Yeah, that's a big pet peeve from me when it comes to artists who don't respect their fans, who talk shit about their fans and things along those lines. Yeah, I don't fuck with that kind of energy at all. I don't give a fuck how talented you are. And look, if she legit has a vocal issue that she needs to take care of, I get it. That's fine. But with all that aside, this further plays into the reputation of her being unreliable.
Exactly.
And hell, she was supposed to be in Atlanta tonight. And I'm damn happy I didn't buy any tickets to that show.
Yeah, that's smart. You probably would have got a refund for those tickets.
Yeah, because I was debating going to her show a few weeks ago, but then when she made that speech all those weeks ago at her concert, I'm like, I don't know if I want to give this girl my money. And then seeing this happen a few days later, I'm like, good thing I did not spend that money on those damn tickets, because I had a feeling some shit was going to happen.
Yeah, ended up working out. Yeah, you won't catch me unless if she's a headliner. I'm definitely not going. Maybe if she's like somebody like featured on the bill, like one of the artists, many artists that are performing that night, that's different. But if she's like the main headliner, I'm definitely not gonna go out of my way to go see her. I'm sorry. Like she's had many chances and she's blew it. Hopefully she is okay. Hopefully, like her vocal cords are all right and she gets the rest and they get back, they get back to where they healed and get back to where they need to be. But at the end of the day, you won't catch me going to a Lauryn Hill concert unless she's just on the bill.
And for all you Lauryn Hill fans out there, you can still be fans of her. You could still like her music and all that, but you can still acknowledge when she messes up and when she does wrong by people. You can do both.
Yeah, this is just not a good look for her and her brand.
Switching gears to another female artist, Megan Thee Stallion in a recent video opened up about the fact that she's going to be more stingy when it comes to sex from now on. And this is what she had to say. It's like nobody be listening to my music. They'd be like, Megan Thee Stallion, I cannot believe she likes to have sex. I cannot believe Megan Thee Stallion fucks. And then she went on to say that she's turning over a new leaf. And then she goes on to say in the rest of the video, I'm stingy with the cootie cat. I'm not a freak anymore. I'm done. I'm done with the streets. So toxic in the streets. I'm tired with the streets.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by her change of heart. I know she's been through a lot over the last few years. I know her parents passed away right before she started blowing up. She had the whole Tory Lanez situation where all of her business was put out there in the public for everybody to talk about and to write articles about. And then also, her breakup with her boyfriend. So just a lot going on with her in the last few years. So I can understand why she wants to kind of like, change her tone. But at the same time, that's kind of how she's made a name for herself. That's kind of how she's blown up by kind of, being, more sexual and, putting herself out there like that. So it'd be interesting to see how she, if she's going to still, have that same kind of content in her music, or if she's going to switch it up and be more, talk about different topics. So I'm interested to see how this plays out and see how she evolves and changes because, like I said, this is how she came into the game and this is what she's known for being vulgar and being, kind of like that, Little Kim, Foxy Brown type of artist. So we'll see how she evolves and she's able to successfully change. I know like Doja Cat is trying to do something similar by, shaving her head bald and trying to make herself look unattractive so people can actually listen to her music. Doja Cat is a really good artist, and so is Megan Thee Stallion. I don't feel like she needed to use sex to sell her music as much. So we'll see, like I said, we'll see how it plays out, and hopefully she can, change her image and be more positive and show, be a better role model for females.
I probably don't see that happening. I think she was more talking about like her personal life. I think music wise, she's probably still going to be doing the same shit she's been doing because that's what people want to buy from her. That's what people want to hear from her. So I don't really see her like dabbling away too much from that. But I could be wrong. And basically, people were coming at her about her whole sexual image and whatnot because of that. This her ex put out, Partisan Fontaine, that this he put out to her a few weeks ago called The Person. And yo, I gotta say, he bodied the shit out of her, son. He fucking let her ass have it.
Yeah, so yeah, who knows if what he said in the song is true or not? Only
Did you hear
them
it?
two and God know. I didn't hear the song. I just heard like clips and like I saw like some of the lyrics like were written online. Yeah, so like I said, I wouldn't. I'm not sure what happened between them. Only them two know what really happened between them in their relationship. We're just going off of what they wrote in their songs. But but other than that, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, he came for her hard. He talked about the fact that she got liposuction. And one of the lines that stuck out to me most that really hit me hard, he said, was when he said, "You had me beefing with dudes you know you were fucking. You're a beautiful woman, but your soul is disgusting." Like that song was basically a character assassination, talking about how like she's a terrible person. She puts up this image for people, but behind that she's like evil. She's grimy. He also accused her of lying during that Gayle King interview. Yeah, he took her ass to
Yeah,
task.
so a lot of dirty laundry that's being laid out on both sides. So I just hope that both of them can just go their separate ways and move on with their life. I know there was a lot of baggage and a lot of things that happened with the Tory Lanez incident and all that because I know they were together at that time or just starting to be together. So I know there was a lot of baggage and like a dark cloud over their relationship. So I can see how everything kind of took a toll on them. I just hope that whatever happens, that they both can be in a better space. And yeah, we'll see how, we can get some good music out of her. Maybe she, dives into some of the personal things that have gone on, maybe on her next album. So maybe that might be interesting to hear from her rather than, the type of content that she's been putting out over the years. So be interesting to see, like I said, where she goes from here.
Yeah, and I have to say that Cobra video was mad dope, and she even paid for all of it herself.
Yeah, it was a dope concept. I like how it kind of like symbolizes how, she's shedding her skin and moving on to like a different part of her life or a different chapter. So yeah, it was a dope video, dope concept. So yeah, I'm interested to see, where she goes from here.
I like what Party said on the track, saying how you talk about shedding your outside skin, but you need to shed your inside. Fuck me. He's really not a fan of Homegirl from what I can tell. And if what he's saying in that track is true, it goes to show you another example of those girls who are really hot, who look like they have it all together on paper, but when you get to know them and spend time with them, you learn that there's not much to them besides their looks, unfortunately.
Yeah, so like I said,
But who knows? I don't know either
yeah,
one of them.
who knows how she really is? We're just going off of what, perspective online and what, what happened in the song. So, hopefully she's not like that. Hopefully that he was just, angry and in his feelings and wanted to put out a song to make her feel bad or whatnot. But like I said, again, at the end of the day, it's time, they're both in a different relationship. I mean, he's in a different relationship and she's in a totally different space right now. So, that's in the past. That was a couple years ago. So let's see what both of them have to do in the future.
Yeah, but check out that disc though. He bodies it. It's mad dope.
Yeah, I'll take a listen to it. I know he writes a lot of songs. He wrote for Cardi B and a lot of he ghostwrites for a lot of different artists. But he just never popped off himself as an artist. So he had a couple songs here and there, but for the most part he does ghostwrite for a lot of artists.
Getting into our next topic, at the Atlanta Falcons and New Orleans Saints game yesterday at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, they had a 50 years of hip-hop celebration throughout the game with different Atlanta hip-hop artists performing, such as T.I. at the beginning of the game as the Falcons were going to run through the tunnel. They had Killer Mike there. They had Bone Crusher there. They had Jeezy, Big Boy, and fuck, even Ludacris performed Move Bitch while he was hanging from the rafters. Shit was fucking nuts.
Yeah, it was dope. I love how the city of Atlanta embraces hip hop and embraces the culture, and I love how the Falcons were able to showcase some of the biggest artists that come up from Atlanta, and they did celebrate the 50 years of hip hop, and pretty much most of the heavyweights who've created hip hop music in the last 30, 40 years were there at the stadium. Like you said, we had Jeezy, T.I., Big Boy, Killer Mike, Jermaine Dupri, Quavo, Goody Mob was there. I even saw Young Bloods. I haven't seen them in forever. Ludacris, like you said, Bone Crusher, Young Jock. So the list goes on and on. Like Pastor Troy. There's a lot of hip hop legends and Atlanta legends that were out there. So it was dope to see the Falcons and the city of Atlanta embrace some of the biggest stars in hip hop. So just a beautiful moment, and history was made. And I'm glad that there was no violence, there was no issues, because a lot of things could happen. But they paid homage to hip hop, and it was just a dope, beautiful sight to see.
Yeah, it was great from the highlights I saw. I even watched a little bit of the game towards the end because I saw the highlights of what was going on online. So I put the game on, and yeah, they had everybody there. It was a good look. I kind of wish I had gone now that I look back at it.
Yeah, the tickets were like stupid expensive. I even looked into it. But yeah, nonetheless, it was shouts out to all the people who were able to attend the game and be a part of history. The Falcons even won, which was another good thing about it. So they had like I said, most of the Atlanta artists. They paid homage to them. They did miss a few. I didn't see Gucci Man. I didn't see like Russ, who's like a newer ATL artist. So there was a couple people that were missing, but nonetheless, they did do their job. Oh, there was another group that was out there that I forgot. TLC was even there that performed, and people forget that they're from Atlanta too. So it was good to see
Oh shit.
TLC, T-Boz, and Chili together performing. So it was dope to see them as well.
Yeah, good shit. Yeah, it looked like a fun time. I really wish I had gone, but what did not look like it was so fun is the video that went viral of King Harris arguing with his parents, T.I. and Tiny. Did you see that video?
I saw parts of it, but he just looks like, I don't know, man. Some of those kids, when they're born, with everything, put on a silver platter for them. Sometimes they don't understand how to appreciate what they have. Like I don't know, I just don't get it.
Yeah, in the video, he was basically talking about how like Ti puts on a front and like acts like he's something he's not for the public, and he was talking about how he never had a silver spoon in his mouth, and then Tiny took the phone away afterwards, saying, "What are you talking about? You always had a silver spoon in your mouth. You were always taken care of, and all that." And then he was talking about how like they used to drop him off at his grandmother's all the time, and then they counter argued, saying that he would always cry and cry to go to his grandmother's house because he was spoiled there, and he basically had a pacifier in his mouth there until he was 12. And then it further escalated. It got more heated. It got more intense. He went on to say like he stands on his business. He handles his business. And you could even hear T.I. in the background saying like, "Yo, you're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing yourself. Stop this." And then a little while later, King put up a story in his Instagram talking about how he stands on his business and how Ti never gave a fuck about him. Ti like was never for him, and how Ti puts on this whole image for the public, but that's not who he really is. Yeah, it was just a whole mess. Like even if those things are true about Ti and Tiny and whatnot, and I don't know for sure, you don't put shit like that out in public on your fucking phone for the world to listen to and for the world to see. That shit's not a good look.
Yeah, I've always been a private person. I don't like to put my business out there like that. So I don't understand how people can go on live and just live stream like an argument between your parents and then airing out them for whatever they did to you in the past, and then them airing you out. Like it's not a good look for the entire family as a whole. And I just hope that they both can heal, because yeah, we don't want to see them go back and forth and argue online, because we don't know what's true, what's not. So, and I don't want to hear something that we're not supposed to hear, and it tarnishes, like Ti's name or the family's name. So hopefully they can figure whatever their issues are out. But yeah, it wasn't a good look, especially on that type of day for that to happen.
Yeah, I don't know King Harris, but the little I have seen of him online, he doesn't come off well.
Yeah, so I don't know. He's just a kid to me, so I don't know, but it's just not a good look.
I mean, he's a kid, but he's not that much of a kid.
Yeah, I get it. I understand, but I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully, he forgives his parents and they can reconcile. But yeah, it's not a good look to air out or go online and air out your family like that.
Yeah, especially on a day like that when they're at a football game, they should be having fun, enjoying themselves. And yeah, you don't need to put that shit out there like that. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So
Okay, so moving on, let's get into our anniversaries real fast. As this past week marked the 30-year anniversary of Snoop Dogg's Doggystyle, which is the album that pretty much put him on the map, and which was also one of the defining albums of not only that early '90s West Coast era, but also hip hop during the '90s in general. King Khan, what are your early memories of that album from when it came out back then?
yeah, from when that album, it was like you said, it was a monumental album. It was a milestone for the West Coast. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg were killing it for like the year prior to that, and then the album was highly anticipated. Snoop was probably one of the biggest artists at that time, if not the biggest artist at that time, and just the whole album collectively, and also the videos, just everything about that album was dope. Even the skits, the DJ Easy Dick and the W Balls radio station, like those
Oh
skits that
shit.
kind of like that actually took that album to another level, because people were like reciting the skits for a long time. And I love how he incorporated like the funk into the hip hop, like the George Clinton influence. That was heavy in the album, and just a lot of memorable songs, a lot of memorable videos. And when you think of a classic album, this is one of the albums that you go to when you think of a classic hip hop album.
And I'll be honest, in a way, I like Doggy Style more than I like The Chronic. I don't know what it is, but that album just did something to me in a way that The Chronic did not. But yeah, such a great project, probably his best project overall in his whole career, in my opinion. And yeah, so many hits from Gin and Juice, which is a fucking classic. I know you
Yeah.
remember that video very well.
Oh
That's
yeah, the video was like that was a timeless video. I remember that being like the number one video like for mad weeks, and people requesting that video. Like it was just a dope video, and just yeah, it was timeless, yo.
yeah, when his parents are leaving and he says like Snoop Doggy Dog, you need to get you a jobby job. And then his parents bounce and he just screams and he just throws a big ass party and fucking
House
the whole
party, yeah.
yeah, the fucking whole neighborhood comes through and then his parents come home to the fucking party.
Yeah, and then I remember the girls coming out the room, and then he has like a long pack of condoms.
Oh
Like,
shit.
yeah, I remember that scene. So it was just a dope video, and like to this day, 30 years later, people still remember that video and that album, and Dr. Dre, being on the production for that album. Just another reason why it's a classic. Like, yeah, just I don't know. There's not too many bad things to say about that album.
No, not at all. Like I said, one of the defining albums of that era. Yeah, the West Coast was just on fire during that period, and that album was just another example of that. Yeah, it's crazy how hot Snoop Dogg was during that period. Would you even say during that time he was a bigger deal than Tupac was?
That's hard to say. I would say yes, because Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg were probably the biggest artists. I would say Tupac was big, but I felt like he got bigger once he passed away. I felt like he got to a whole nother level. Same thing with Biggie. I felt like there were big artists when they were still alive, but I felt like once they passed away, it took them into like an icon, legendary status. But at that time, I feel like Snoop was a bigger artist at that time.
Yeah, I hear you. The Gin and Juice video was incredible. The What's My Name video was also dope when he turns into a dog in the middle of it.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, so it's
There
just a
was
dope
also,
album, man. Even the cover too.
oh yeah, the cover was dope.
Yeah, the cover was dope. Like you were about to say, "Murder Was a Case." I know. Didn't he come out with a "Murder Was a Case" album
I
or
think it was a
soundtrack or
movie. I think
something?
it was a movie, but that song I think was like referencing to the that incident when he almost went to prison, like when he got accused of murder for that rival gang member.
Yeah, I remember that. I thought "Murder Was a Case." The song came out before the actual "Murder Was a Case" trial and all that. I thought maybe I remember it wrong, but I gotta look
Yeah, the
that up.
song was on the album, and then he performed it at the VMAs the next year in '94. Like, and that was basically like a reference to like what was going on at the time. Because at the end of the
Yeah,
track, he says, "I'm innocent. I'm innocent."
yeah. Imagine like the biggest artist be going on trial for murder. Imagine if Drake was on trial right now. That would be nuts. That's how big of a moment that was in history, in the culture, in the history.
Yeah, and it could have been like a whole situation like Jeezy we talked about a few weeks ago, where like once you start to become successful, once you become that big of an artist, especially if you're a black artist at that, the fucking people in charge are gonna come for you, and that was probably another example of that.
Yeah, so I don't remember the details of the incident of what happened with the murder case, but luckily, Snoop Dogg was acquitted. He got off, and years later, he still stayed out of trouble for the most part. Thank God for that.
Yeah, great album. Go back and listen to it if you haven't heard it in a while. It's a great hour use of your time. You'll definitely enjoy yourself listening to that album. That's the main thing I got from Doggy Style. I'll be honest. I just enjoyed myself listening to it. For that hour straight, it just puts you in a good mood. And that's one of the things I love the most about music.
Yeah, it was an entertaining album, and I just miss that part of hip hop when they had skits. I feel like that made they turned albums into movies, and it took them to another level. It made them more memorable.
You have me thinking of the skit from We Are the Streets from the Lots with the Raping You record skit. Shit was mad funny.
Yeah, like the Biggie skits on his album. So there was a lot of dope albums that I remember. A lot of albums had skits back in that time. So yeah, I kind of missed that from today's music.
Yeah, great album. Not enough good things to say about it. Also, this past week marks the anniversary of two other special albums, which we won't dabble into too long. Lupe Fiasco's The Cool came out 16 years ago today, actually, as we're recording. And also, Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West came out 13 years ago this past week. Another great album of his. Probably his second best album besides College Dropout.
Yeah, that Kanye album was really dope, especially after the whole 808s and Heartbreaks. He went back to his roots on that album. So definitely a classic album.
Not even just the 808s Heartbreaks, the Taylor Swift incident that happened at the VMAs where he like made an ass of himself and everybody just hated his guts pretty much for that whole period. You didn't see him for like a year after that whole incident happened, and so pretty much his album came out.
Yeah, he was pretty quiet after that, but yeah, it was definitely a good redemption album.
Yeah, great redemption album. That album was great. Also, Watch the Throne goes without saying. But I'll be honest, this is like kind of the last period where I was like really, really a fan of his like that.
Yeah, that was peak Kanye after the whole college dropout, graduation, late registration run. So yeah, this was like I would say like another peak for him in his career.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was also voted best album of the decade by Rolling Stone, Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. That was a very dope album.
Yeah, and The Cruel was also incredible. Oh my God, that's a great album.
Yeah, the Lupe Fiasco did his thing on that album. I remember that one. Pretty good.
Yeah, he had a lot of good ones, but I would say that would by far be his best one, even better than Food and Liquor. That album was just incredible from start to finish. And I think that should have won Best Album at the Grammys instead of Carter 3. But it is what it is.
I don't know. I don't know about all that, but it's another topic for another day.
Yeah, all right. So before we get out of here, any new releases you have to break down for us?
Yeah, we did have the highly anticipated Busta Rhymes blockbuster album that dropped this past week on Black Friday.
It was okay.
It was yeah, it was a lot of star-studded features, but yeah, I felt like it was okay. It didn't. I don't know. To me, it felt more like a mixtape than an album, per se. I felt like yeah, because when you have all those different producers and all those different, I felt like there was too many cooks in the kitchen, and the album wasn't. I don't know. It didn't feel like an album. It felt like more of a mixtape. It felt like the songs weren't deep, and it wasn't like a really personal project. It was just like a lot of club songs, a lot of like hype music. There were some highlights. I wouldn't say that it's all bad. I was feeling that the remake of the song with the UGK Get Throwed that was with
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
remember that
Busta
track.
Rhymes and the Baby. I felt like I wish it was just Busta Rhymes on that track. I felt like he didn't really need anybody else, but nonetheless, I still felt it was okay. I just felt like the song could have been a little bit better. It kind of like lost me a little bit after it was going on for a while, but it was still a dope and nostalgic track. Yeah, he has a song where he remakes the Miguel and J. Cole song "All I Want Is You." Yeah, that was another track that I was feeling. So he had a couple songs on there. He even did a tribute with his kids, which was dope. And he did he went back and forth. He did like an interview type of song with Big Tigger. So there was some highlights, like I said, but I felt like the album didn't flow, and it didn't have like I was referring to like the Doggystyle album didn't have any skits. So like the previous Busta Rhymes album, like he had Chris Rock and others, and he had a lot of skits usually on his albums, and this one didn't have any. So that's why I kind of got like a mixtape vibe rather than a album vibe from this one. But nonetheless, just check it out and give it a listen for yourself. See if you like it.
Yeah, it was okay. It was what I would say about it. I think it's like good for like a party or like a get together at the crib. But as an album from start to finish, it's not something I think I would like listen to regularly. And yeah, it was very heavy on the dancehall vibes. Very fucking heavy on the dancehall vibes.
Yeah,
Holy
they had
shit.
some song like the Burner Boy song was pretty dope as well. I like that one. And then I know he had some of the art dancehall artists on there, so it was alright. I just felt like I was going back to one of my last points is that it had too many cooks in the kitchen. And I felt like if you would have taken like the Nas and Hit Boy approach, where he just had maybe one producer, if you would have picked like maybe Pharrell for the whole album or Timbaland for the whole album, maybe it would have been different. But nonetheless, he tried to do his thing. He tried to cater to like the younger audience, and he tried to do a little bit, something a little bit different compared to the last album, because the last album was like a little bit more serious because it came out around COVID time. So this one, I guess he was trying to be more uplifting and more upbeat. So I kind of understand it, but I just felt like it just didn't hit the mark with this album.
Yeah, it is what it is. You win some, you lose some. But like I said, it was cool for what it was. It's a cool, like if I ever throw a get together at the crib or go to a party, that's an album I would want to play. Definitely.
Yeah, so it's okay. Like it's not all
I'll
bad.
give it that.
It's just not. I was expecting a little bit more after that huge announcement.
Yeah, it is what it is. But before we get out of here, King Khan, tell everybody how they can listen to past episodes of the podcast and also how they can follow us on social media.
Yeah, if you want to follow us on social media, it's at Shifting the Culture Podcast. We're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and all the other major social media platforms. And if you want to check out any of our past episodes, you can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and any of the major platforms where you get your podcast. Just search for Shifting the Culture Podcast.
Yeah, get on that shit. Holler at us. Let us know what you think. And until next time, for King Khan, this is Conscious Kurt for another edition of the Shifting the Culture podcast. Take care. God bless. And remember, whether you're an old school head or a new school head, always respect the culture.
Peace.
Have a good one, guys.